YouTube video. In the last video, we have seen the chapter 1, when, where and how. And what we have seen in that chapter, we have learned the different name of the Indian country. That means the changing name of the land where we are living right now. And we also seen some tradition which are going from the ancient period to in this recent period also. And why should we study history and how we study history? These also we have learned. There are two types of learning history. There are two sources of history. With the help of this source, we can get more knowledge about the history. That means that source are literary source and archaeological source. Two sources are there to learn the history, to know the information about the medieval period and the ancient period. That two sources are literary source and archaeological source. In the literary source, what we have seen, we have learned, and we also need the different biography and its author. Even we also see what is biography. Biography means the third person is writing about us. I am not writing by myself and you are also not writing by myself, but third person is writing about ourselves, that is biography. And what is autobiography? Autobiography means I am only writing about myself. I am only writing about myself. It is called autobiography. And when the third person is writing about us, it is biography. So we also see the lots of biographies and its author, and autobiography, which king or queen has written their own autobiography for their kingdoms, to know the information about their kingdom, their ruling and their development, achievement and socialization. Even we have seen the court chronicles. What is this court chronicles? In court chronicles we see that the court chronicles only telling us the information about the king, their kingdom, their empire and their achievement. But court chronicles not telling us about the socialization and development of the common people life. So court chronicle is not that much important. It just tells us the information about the kings and their region and their dynasties. So this literary source we have covered in our last video. Now today what we are going to see? We are going to see the archaeological source. What is archaeological source? I just explain you in brief what is archaeological source. Archaeologists means the people who executed some remaining things where the ancient period, in the ancient period where the people were living, and their daily needs tools they have left in the under the ground, under the land. And in that remaining things, what archaeologists did? Archaeologists dug that all remaining things from the land, and they study about it. That means we can know the information, we can read the information about the people who lived in the medieval period and how they lived. That means the archaeologists only dug all the remaining objects from the earth, and they study about it, and they made a history of that. So there are lots of archaeological sources which we are going to see, but in the archaeological source means when the writing pattern was not there. When the writing pattern was not there, that time the writing skill was not developed that time. So the archaeological sources are helping us to know the information about the ancient period people and the medieval period people with the help of their study. Whatever they found from the earth, whatever they found from the land, like pot, tools, jewelry, clothes, whatever they have excavated from the earth, and they study about it, and then they made a history of that all things. And literary means the books. That time the writing skill was totally developed, so everyone was able to read and write. That means the literary source. But when the writing skill was not developed, it was called archaeological source. These source only help us to know the information about the particular period of the king and their kingdom and about their achievement. So what will come in the archaeological source? Let's see in detail. Now you can also open the page number 70, and there is archaeological source, how it helps us to know the history. We know that archaeology deals with the material remains of the past civilization like coins, pottery, jewelry, toys, statues, grains of old buildings, etc. that have been excavated by the archaeologists and throw the light on life in the past. Archaeological sources include monuments, coins, inscriptions, and objects of art such as paintings and sculptures. That means what we have recently we have told you that archaeologists did. Archaeologists found the remaining things from the earth. They excavated and they study about that things, and what they found in the archaeologists, they executed the coins, potteries, jewelry, toys, statues, ruins of old buildings. That means some old buildings were built by the kings, and that everything was left after their death. This everything were left after the king's death, after the civilization of that period. So this everything was left, and archaeologists executed these all things, and that they have been executed by archaeologists. That means why that sources are called archaeological source, because archaeologists did very important role to execute that all the remaining things from the land. And this source throw the light on the socialization and civilization of the common people also. That means this archaeological source help us to know the information, help us to know the daily life of the common people, what they ate that time, which kind of pots they were using, or what kind of dresses they were wearing, and what kind of jewelry they used to wear. This everything we can know with the help of archaeological source. So what will come in the archaeological source? In the archaeological sources include monuments. Monuments means buildings. Monuments, coins, inscriptions and objects of art such as painting and sculptures. That means in archaeological source, what will include there? Monuments, some building, some coins and some paintings and sculptures. Sculpture means the statue of the god, goddess or king or queen. Sculpture means the statue of god, goddess, king or queen. So these all monument, coins, inscription, object like paintings and sculpture, this all tell us the information about the civilization and socialization of the common people life in that particular period, in the ancient period or in the medieval period. Now what is inscription? First we see what is inscription. The study of inscription is called epigraphy. The study of inscription is called epigraphy. So you just underline that first line. The study of inscription is is called epigraphy. Inscription in various languages and script tell us about the different dynasties and their history. That means the inscription was in the different languages. The inscription was in the different languages, and the inscription tell us the particular period of the king or their dynasties. Dynasties means the Rajvansh. The particular king's Rajvansh. Dynasties. So this inscription in various language and scripts. There was the inscription in different languages. We also see some languages also developed in the medieval period. The language like Gujarati, Marathi, Urdu. This kind of languages we have seen. So the inscription was in the different languages. So the other people also can read it. And this inscription tell us the different dynasties of the king and their empire and their particular period of the particular kings. They record the achievement of the ruler, royal proclamations and gift made by the kings to temple, village and scholars. That means what is there in the inscription? We see the inscription tell us the more information about the kings or different dynasties. But this inscription also tell us the particular king's achievement, whatever achievement he had done in his period, and their royal proclamations and the gift, some gift he has done for the temple, mosque and some in the memory of some building, in the memory of some particular person he has made some buildings or some village he developed. This all the information we get from the inscription. So which kind of information we can get from the inscriptions? The achievement of the particular kings and their royal proclamations and the gift made by the king. The gift made by the king to the temple. That means if the kings conquered, the kings won some achievement, won some battle. So in that happiness, he asked the people to make some temple in the memory of this achievement, in the winning of this achievement. He asked or he gives some gift to the temple, to mosque or to village. Inscription also throw light on the social and economic condition of the people. Even in the inscription you can see the socialization. It's throw the light on the socialization of the common people. How the people were living, how the people used to eat and used to eat, used to wear, used to behave and used to use the language to speak. This everything you can see in the inscription. That means inscription tell us the information of social and economic condition of the people. Economic means arthik, economic means pesa. That means which kind of rupees were that time, which kind of coins they were used to use for dealing with each other or for helping with each other, like that. For the medieval period, we have plenty of material ranging from the Chola inscription to the inscription on the wall of Taj Mahal, the Red Fort and the Rajput palaces. That means the Chola inscription is one of the famous inscription in history. That means you underline that line, the Chola inscription. It is one of the famous inscription in the world, in the history of world. And to the inscription on the wall, the Taj Mahal, the Red Fort and the Rajput palaces. That means some inscription are about the Taj Mahal, the Red Fort and the Rajput palaces. And if we read the inscription of Taj Mahal, Red Fort and Rajput palaces, then you will get more information about the Taj Mahal, who built the Taj Mahal, and in which period the king was there, what happened, which achievement that particular king did. This everything once you read the inscription, so you will get the knowledge. That means the inscription on walls of the Taj Mahal, Red Fort and Rajput palaces. Now let's see the monuments. What is monument? I told you the monument means the building. The beautiful buildings is called the monuments. The beautiful palaces, fort, temples, mosques, tombs and other buildings of medieval period tell us about the architectural style used by the people who built these structures. Now what? The beautiful palaces. If you see some palaces of the king or queen, so you will get how beautiful it is built it is. If you have seen the Taj Mahal, so you will get how much the stylish architecture was there and how much stylish it was built in that period. So the monuments means the places like palaces, fort, temples, mosque, tombs and the other building of the medieval period tell us about the architectural style used by the people. That means so many beautiful buildings were built by the kings and their empire. So that building is called monuments. In that building what includes? The forts were there, the palaces were there, temples were there, mosques were there and tombs and other beautiful buildings also were there. Some of the famous monuments of the medieval period are the Purana Qila, the Red Fort, the Jama Masjid in Delhi, the Taj Mahal in Agra, the Brihadeshwara Temple in Thanjavur and the Hawa Mahal in Jaipur and the fort of the Jaisalmer and the Gwalior are also very famous. That means there are in the medieval period, if you read about the medieval period, so there are the world famous monuments which today also the peoples from the foreigners, foreigner peoples also come and to see that monuments. That means many tourists, the many visitors from the abroad, from the foreign country, they come and they see this building, they come to see these monuments which is in our India, and that buildings are Red Fort, Jama Masjid in Delhi, Lal Qila, Hawa Mahal and the famous fort of Jaisalmer, Gwalior, like that, and the Taj Mahal also is from Agra. Apart from being an integral part of our culture, heritage, these buildings tell us about the level of technological development and engineering skill of that time. If you see the Red Fort, if you see the Taj Mahal, so you can imagine how talented the people were that much talented, so much talented in that period. The engineering skill and the archaeology and the technological development and the engineering skill you can see after watching that monuments. Once you see, it looks very beautiful and it's built up by very beautifully by the different kind of technology. They use very beautiful technology to develop that monuments. Even you can imagine the engineering skill also there. That means the engineering skill was awesome, it was outstanding. And the technology development also we can see if you see that monuments. And which monuments are that? Red Fort, Jama Masjid, Purana Qila, Taj Mahal. After watching that, you can see how the beautifully it's built up, and the engineering skill level also we can see after watching that. The inscription on the walls of this monument also give us an accurate idea about the life of the people. Now see the numismatics. What the next is numismatic. In the monument, what will come also there? We monuments we have seen in the example Taj Mahal, Great Fort, and in the it was that all monuments were in the medieval period, but still they are as it is, and many foreigners came to visit it. Now sculptures, inscription we have seen, right? Now the numismatics, the study of coins. The study of coins is called numismatics. That means some coins were there in the period of the particular king. They issued some coins to do the deal with another king or to deal with the another kingdom. So what is coins? The study of coins is numismatics. The writing on the coins give us name of the king or queen who issued them. That means they were the coin, and on that coin there was on the coin the king name was there or the queen name was there, and their period also and their region also they mentioned there. That means if once it will see, so you can see that coins were used to use in that king's period, or this coin used to use in the this queen period. So on the coin there were the king's name or queen names and their period of region. The coins also mention the date of the region of the ruler and dynasties. That means on the coin you can see the king's name or queen names, or the date was also mentioned on the coin. That means who issued this coin or which king was ruling that time and who issued it, that particular date, and king and queen names were mentioned on the coin. So which can be compared with the literary source. Coin give us an insight into the state of the economy and polity of the period. That means what coin tell us? The coin tell us the information, that means which king or queen issued it, or the period of the ruling period of that particular king or queen. That means the date were mentioned there, the period mentioned there, this everything mentioned there. So with the help of coin tell us the coin give us an insight into the state of the economy and polity of that period. That means economy condition. This coin tell us the economy and polity condition of that period. For example, the coin minted during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq tell us about the state of economy during his reign. That means if on some coins minted during the reign of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, that means some coins were issued in the period of Muhammad bin Tughlaq, then that coin tell us the information about the state of the economy. Their state economy, this coin tell us the information of that state economy. How was the political and how was the economical condition of that Muhammad bin Tughlaq's period. Sometimes the coins of particular kingdom are found in several places, indicating that all those places were a part of that kingdom or they had trade relation with it. That means in Maharashtra some coins were issued by some king or queen, and the same coin if you can found in Gujarat, the same coin if you find in Gujarat, so you can, after watching that coin, you can see you can guess that this coin is from the Maharashtra. This coin is from the Maharashtra and this particular king issued this in his period. But why this coin is here in Gujarat? That means there are the business deal. There are the business deal with Maharashtra and Gujarat scheme. There are the deals, business deal, trades deal between the Maharashtra and Gujarat deal. That's why the coin was here in Gujarat. So here only that saying, if the coin of particular kingdom are found in several places. So indicating that all those places were a part of the kingdom or they had a trade relation with it. That means trade relation means the business deal. That means they have a business relation with each other. Means the Maharashtra kings and Gujarat kings, they have a, this is only example I am telling you. That means the Maharashtra kings and Gujarat kings have a trade relation, business relation with each other. That's why the Maharashtrian coin is here in Gujarat. Now you please note down this. Then we'll see the sculptures and painting. Now the sculptures and painting. What is sculptures? There are many beautiful paintings and sculpture that belongs to the medieval period. That means in medieval period there are lots of sculpture. In the beginning only I have told you what is sculpture. Sculptures mean the statue of god, goddess, king or queen. Right? So here also the sculpture are mostly the figure of. The figure means the statue. The figure of the king, queen, god, goddess, and it was made by the bronze, stone or wood. For making this sculpture, what they used to use? They use bronze, stone or wood. With the help of bronze, stone and wood, they made a figure, they made a statue of the king, queen, god or goddess. That means the beautiful sculpture. See in this, the most famous sculpture were the Chola bronze. For the example, the dancing Shiva. See, you can see here the dancing Shiva. This is the sculpture. How beautifully is made it is. This is dancing Shiva in the Chola period. In the Chola bronze. The painting had various themes such as the court scene, places scenes, mythological tales and hunting scenes. Then painting was also famous in that medieval period. In the medieval period we have seen the sculpture, the statue of god, goddess, king or queen, the figure of god, goddess, king or queen, and the sculpture is made by the bronze, wood or stone. Now the painting was also famous in that period, and the painting scene, if any painter is making some painting, so he keep in his mind that this kind of painting I have to make. That means, but in the medieval period the painters made a beautiful painting of scene, the palace scene, the empire scene, the hunting scene, the court scene. These all scenes painting they have made in that medieval period. The sculpture and painting tell us a lot about the life and culture of the period. That means the sculpture and painting also tell us the particular kings, ruler and their dynasties and their culture of the period. Now what is oral tradition? The last one is oral tradition. The oral traditions such as mythology and legend are a valuable source of information for the historian. That means the traditions such as mythology and legend. Mythology and legend, these are the valuable source to get the information about for the historian. We have often heard the story about the past from our parents or grandparents. That means when we are in our childhood, our parents tell us the story, but our parents also heard the same story from their parents. That means our grandparents tell the story to our parents. Now the same story is telling our parents to us. Now we also know that story, so in our next generation we also tell the same story to our kids. That means the oral tradition. So these oral sources are however not considered as authentic and reliable as written sources because the stories tend to change while being told and retold by the different people. That means the same people, that means the different people tell the same stories, and this tradition is continuing. The same story is continuing from the generation. That means from the grandparents and their grandparents and their grandparents. That means you can see here the long generation and the same story they are retold. And which story we have heard from our parents in our childhood, the same story we also will tell to our next generation. So it's called oral tradition. And the mythology and legend, it is mythology and legend. The story of the Prithviraj Chauhan and his wife Samyogita, or the story of Kabir and Mirabai reflect the thinking of the period. The example are here which kind of story. The story of Prithviraj Chauhan and his wife Samyogita, or the story of Kabir, Mirabai reflect the thinking of this period. A good historian thoroughly and carefully uses the different sources of history, and they analyzes the interprets and the judicialis before writing the history. That means in the oral tradition you just say the oral legend and mythology, or the story which is coming from our grandparents to us, to our parents, and from our parents to us, and from us to our next generation. It is the oral generation. Now here our chapter is over. So what you have to do? You have to read this whole chapter at home. You have to read this whole chapter at home and underline the main sentence. So it will help you to fill in the blanks. And what we have covered here, the changing name of the land we covered, the literary sources we have seen, archaeological sources we have seen. So you please don't worry, this oral, wait. The exercises is there, question 1 and 2 and 3. You can do it by your own because it is only fill in the blank, choose the correct option. Once you read the chapter carefully, so you can do it easily. And the rest of the question answer you will get provided. Okay. So student, I hope you got this lesson nicely. We'll meet in our next video soon. Till then, bye bye, take care and thank you.